Yes, at Cock 45, your internet shooting companion who can't shoot, apparently. I'm not sure what I missed. I think I was shooting at the cowboy, and I thought if I missed him, I'll hit that 2 liter at least, and that was the mistake I made. I shot in amongst them. Yeah, not necessarily the best strategy. But anyway, yes, your internet shooting companion coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, becoming less beautiful, home of. How about Bill Smith this week? Bill Smith, you know him. Jim Wilson, all those guys. Mary Smith, you know all those people, right? No, you might not. I thought I'd give a shout out to people who nobody knows, right? Because people that are fairly anonymous in the big scheme of things are just as important as anybody else, right? And have all the same issues, problems, joys, and great things that happen to them and terrible things that happen to them. And so all of those people are in Tennessee as well, right? Just like in your state. Yeah. So anyway, good to have you here this week, and I'll try not to be so brief. In fact, you'll probably want me to shut up. I told some of you I would make up for last week, but it's probably spending too much time this week because I have lots I could share, and I'll try not to share too much. I went on a trip, and you may have seen my postings on Instagram, The Real Hickok 45, or Hickok 45 Facebook, and yeah, I had a pretty good week, and I was in the mood to shoot this old charcoal burner, this 1842, which you should have seen. Most of you have probably. We've done one video with it, I guess, other than a short. Did we do a short with it? We might have. But it's the 1842 smoothbore, and it's the Harpers Ferry, 1842. Yes, quite a firearm. 69 caliber, and I've not shot it a lot. And guess what? It's going to turn off cold as I speak, and it hasn't happened yet. But I thought, you know what? I'm in the mood to shoot it anyway. And after this week, I don't know if there's going to be many days when I'm in the mood to. Well, I'm always in the mood to get out a muzzleloader, but I don't know if there's going to be any really great days to go out and enjoy an afternoon of shooting it, right? So that's today, and I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here with me to enjoy it. It's a heavy ball. I mean, you got a heavy bullet when it's like it's heavy in your hand. It hurts almost when it hits. So not like a BB. Pretty cool. 69 caliber. My gosh. And before I go on into this gun, don't forget John's Comedy. He'll be at Huntsville, Alabama at Stand Up Live December 15th through the 17th. And then back here in Nashville on the 18th, okay, at Zany's. So, yeah, what have I been up to? Yeah, well, I've been traveling, and some of you already know why I was in the mood to come home and get out my 1842 Harpers Ferry musket. Yeah, this one is a musket. Most of, I guess, all of my other Civil War era or 1850 to 1865, whatever, muzzleloaders, military muzzleloaders, are rifle muskets, really. Meaning, meaning, here I go stepping in that one. Look it up. Well, generally speaking, the bottom line is if it's smoothbore, musket. If it's rifled, it's a rifle. But then again, if it's an old musket like this that happens to become rifled, or they start rifling it, but musket also has something to do with length and use of it and all that sort of thing. People will call a really long rifle barrel sometimes a musket barrel, and, so the words are used in a lot of different ways, but generally it's a rifle musket, like the 1861 or the Enfields that were used in the Civil War so predominantly. They're generally called rifle muskets. Rifled muskets or rifle muskets, I don't know. You can argue about that all day long, but this one is more of a musket. It's not rifling. It's smoothbore. For you folks in Kentucky, that means it is like a pipe. There's no grooves in the barrel. And, you know, so you don't get quite the accuracy with it, do you? So I'm just going to load and shoot as I yak at you. And, you know, hope you had a great week. I hope you had a week that was even close to my week. Now, I don't brag about my weeks very often. You know, life is, you know, pretty good for me, generally speaking. You know, we all have our ups and downs, but I don't generally have any big problems. And as most of you know, I'm continuing, of course, my high-fat, low-carb diet, and so things continue to get better. I feel better, and you know, and all that kind of thing. So going great. But now my trip, I had a trip this week. Went on a trip, and here I am talking to you. I mess up loading. Black powder's going in here, and that last week I mentioned I was leaving. I didn't know if I'd be able to upload in the motel correctly, or you know, or at all, or whatever. You just never know. But I think it would have worked out actually. But I didn't want you to miss me for a week and not know what happened to me. And that could happen some week. Just I will try to post something on a Sunday. Like if I had run into a bind on uploading at a motel or something, I'd do something, post on Facebook or Instagram, do something with my phone camera and say hi to you at least, and you know, put that up if I'm able to. If I'm in the hospital or something, you know, I would do that, let you know. And not that you're that worried about me, but you know, just anyway, I would let you know. But so yeah, I took off for a week, a solid week. Yep. And was gone again, relatives, Kentucky, 7 days. That's a week. And it was just a situation where I kind of was free to just take off. And so I did. John was out of town and everything. And my wife needed to stay at home. And so she took care of the cats and manned the shotgun and the turret, you know, got a machine gun turret on the roof, of course. And I really had 7 days to go wherever I wanted. And I almost went to Chattanooga. And I just could have gone anywhere out west, whatever I wanted to do. But I just didn't want to spend the entire time in the car. You know, that's the thing. I love going out west and the sights and everything. But I didn't want to spend like 12 hours driving every day for 5 or 6 days, that kind of thing, you know. And I wanted to maybe go somewhere and land, kind of, and just somewhere to be interesting, or 2 or 3 places and land. And so I knew there was a gun shop, in fact, a gun show. I had it on my calendar. I didn't really think I'd go to it. It was up in Virginia, the Virginia Kentucky Rifle Association gun show, whatever it was called. I had that on my calendar. I put things like that on my calendar sometimes, think, well, just so I won't forget that it's going on. You ever do that? Just put on my Google Calendar just so I'm aware of it, just in case. What if something came up and I was going to be in that area or something? You know, I would know about it. Like this week, and I've got not going, didn't go, but you know, Tulsa was this week, and I've got that on my calendar, and there was something else on there. I forgot what it was, but you know, but it's on my calendar, so I'll know. And so anyway, this particular show was up there, and I was aware of that. And as I got to deciding, I was actually on the road. I was out driving before I really decided full that. And so I decided to go up to do that, to go on up. I changed my mind from Chattanooga and went up through the Shenandoah Valley. Met many of you up there too around town, so you know where I ended up, don't you? Okay, I got to redeem myself here. I know it's a smoothbore, but my gosh, cowboy, where in the world did that go? All right. I must be going under him. I think that must be what I'm doing. I'm going right between his legs. I think I'm just holding down too low. Uh-oh, there we go, taking that cap off too soon. Well, I'm gonna let it cool. That's I guarantee you that's what I'm gonna bring it up a little bit on the next shot. All right. So this is my Harpers Ferry 1842, and a favorite, as many of you know. Well, I haven't had it all that long, but I'd always wanted a smoothbore. I've got all those nice rifle muskets and everything. I've got the, gosh, 1841. I need to get out sometime soon. The Mississippi rifle, 1841 percussion, and of course, my infields and my reproductions and my original 1861, and you've seen those, I hope. But I didn't have a smoothbore, so this was on my list, and kind of on the bucket list for a while. And I wasn't sure I wanted one for a while. I don't know, just as I learned more about history and the specific firearms, and that's kind of the way it goes. I've talked about that. You learn, you realize, wow, that rifle or that musket was really significant. That was a key piece of hardware, for a period of time or whatever, and maybe you were not even aware of it. You've seen them, but you just couldn't fully appreciate the history of it. Like, imagine that, like all of us are with so many firearms. That's another place I went to. I went to the, okay, no patch on that one, which is okay. I went to the NRA Firearms Museum at their headquarters while I was up there, and I'd been there a few years ago, but my wife was with me, and we spent some time there, but I was able just to hang around as long as I wanted, and or I could have stayed as long as I wanted the first time, and I did stay a long time. I don't want to blame it on her, but after someone who is not a gun nut mills around for an hour, they might not be as interested. But that was neat. So speaking of guns that you can't fully appreciate, maybe seeing a firearm and sort of knowing what it is, but you don't really know it fully or understand a lot about it, maybe. Well, just walk through a museum like that, like thousands of firearms that look similar to some other firearms you know about, but I don't know, what's that? A Model 26, I don't know, some Winchester or whatever it is that you just weren't that familiar with, or some military rifle. Okay, now I'll shoot this, but it's a small ball, or it's for the bore, because I plan to patch them, so I got to make sure it doesn't roll down the barrel. Okay. Now I'll hit the cowboy with this one. Yeah. Nope, I'll leave that on. So how's that for irony? The one hits without a patch, but it was strictly, accuracy at this distance is not a big deal. It was just I was holding. Well, in fact, I was probably had a decent hold. I was just too low because it had to go right between his legs. That's really I can't even shoot much lower than that because there's plate in my line of sight here. So those first two, I went right under between his legs, put it that way. We won't get too graphic. So anyway, so I went to Northern Virginia and I spent the week. I got to thinking and Googling, because I stopped in East Tennessee for a night. I was just looking on a map and still wasn't sure which direction I was going. I got to Googling around up in Virginia, and I said, you know what, that's where I want to go, because there's also a gun show in Manassas past weekend, and then of course the Manassas Bull Run battlefield, first battle of the Civil War. I hadn't been to that one. Been to a lot of Civil War battlefields, but not to that one. And so in that city, that battlefield and a gun show. I thought it'd be a pretty good gun show because it was put on by I think Virginia Gun Collectors Association. Those usually are not just Glocks and ARs, or M&Ps and ARs or something, or SIGs and ARs. Not picking on Glock. So there's a couple of things, and then guess what? Winchester, I was about 30 minutes from Harpers Ferry, which was on my bucket list, where this rifle, this musket was made. This very musket I'm holding was made there at Harpers Ferry, Virginia. Now it's in West Virginia. They didn't move Harpers Ferry. West Virginia took part of Virginia. But and then there was then that other show, the Kentucky Rifle Show, which was a small show, but it was going on too. So anyway, all that stuff was closed, and I also looked at Google's pretty handy. I said, God, you know what? Also, there from Winchester, I am an hour and a half from another small battlefield, I think, of some significance, Gettysburg. So guess what? I went to all those places. I did all those things. Now, how is that? I mean, is that a dream? Now, some of you maybe can't appreciate about it, but some of you can. Is that a dream trip for a gun nut? Is that a dream trip for a gun nut like me, especially? Okay? Because of the history, the historical significance of Harpers Ferry, of course, Gettysburg, Manassas, and the gun show at Manassas was, as I expected, a lot of, there's some new things there, but it was a lot of, you name it, the World War II stuff, flintlocks, Civil War rifles, all sorts of things at that. It was a good show, and guess what? At the Kentucky Rifle Show, there were flintlocks. Imagine that. Yeah. So anyway, you know me, I love everything, but it's nice there aren't that many gun shows, though, where you can just, there's going to be a big mix, just like gun shops. Pick out the two biggest gun shops in your city, any large city, anywhere of any size, and there might not be a used gun in there hardly. There might not be even hardly a lever gun, unless maybe a new one. So that's where you see that stuff. And I get that question all the time, have for decades. Where do you find that? Where do you find a .03 Springfield? Where do you find a Model 92 made in 1917? Where do you find that? Gun broker or one of the auction sites, or a gun show, a big regional gun show. You can't just find that stuff in very many gun shops, but now some you can. All right. So anyway, I put powder in, right? So there I go. I'll chuck it. I won't dump it out. In one video, I think it was in the video with this gun, maybe. Was it? I wasn't sure where I put powder in because I was talking to you all, and or you all were listening to me, one or the other. And so I just, I'm not sure. So I just dumped it. I said, here's what you do. You can see where you put powder in. I turned it up, and I just dumped it all out, and I went on about reloading. And I never did explain that. What I was doing, it dawned on me, that was kind of weird. Here's how you find out whether you put powder in or not. You dump it out. Well, yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, if you do that, you're gonna lose your powder. It tells you where you are. Yeah, you do lose your powder charge and you start over, but it tells you where you were beyond any question. This works on too. Yeah, if you can see the powder granules on there, so that tells me, yeah, where I am in the loading too, right? I just didn't trust it that day that I was talking to you all, I guess. But I remember seeing that video, I think, I know what I'm doing, but I don't always explain what I'm doing and maybe what the rationale is. So anyway, yeah, you can pretty much guess that was a gun nut's dream trip, right? And all along I kept thinking, man, it's a shame I'm by myself. There's so many people who just love this trip, just I'm lucky I was able to make the trip, and had the freedom, to do it, could afford to do that kind of thing, and just take off for 7 days. And I went to Harpers Ferry. Now again, let me admonish you all, because all of you are not seasoned shooters. Many of you are, and some of you are really into history, and you could tell me more about Harpers Ferry than I could tell you. But there are a lot of people who don't know. So there are probably some people watching who don't even know, not to make fun of you, don't even know what is special about Harpers Ferry. Well, it's where this gun was made, as I said. It was one of the two major arsenals armories, of the United States. We had Springfield Armory and Harpers Ferry. Both were established around, the end of the 1700s, 1799, 1800, 1801 or two, I think. Harpers Ferry was like right on the heels, I think, of Springfield, right there in that like a 5-year period or a 2 or 3. Both of those were the armories. Okay, that's where all the muskets and were made, the firearms. And of course, at that time, they were all flintlocks, right? And that's all the various models. I think beginning with what, the 1895, I guess, the Harpers Ferry, or both of them, and then, Harpers Ferry, and then so much history I won't go into. I just load the ball, right? Okay, let's shoot it. And the town is so cool, sitting right on the border where the Shenandoah River meets the Potomac, and down in a hole, and you can almost throw a rock and hit Maryland or Virginia or West Virginia, and it's just really interesting. The armories are all destroyed now and gone where these were made, but it's right there, and of course John Brown's raid that took place there, the building where he held up in, John Brown's Fort, as they call it, it's made the rounds because it's such a historical location. They moved it 2 or 3 times. It's back there, and it's not in exactly where it was, when the town before it got blasted and all that. But it's right there, so it's kind of cool. I've seen a picture I posted. So if you're not familiar with John Brown and all that, it's really worth studying, and the armory, and at the Civil War, at the beginning of it, soon after Fort Sumter was fired upon, the Confederates, of course, in Virginia were marching towards the armory, the arsenal in Harpers Ferry to take it over, of course, because it was, up until then, it was a United States armory, right, arsenal. And so it was in Virginia, though, and so it was in the South, in Virginia. And so the North tried to, the troops that were manning it or whatever, they knew what was going to happen, so they tried to burn it up, so the South Confederates couldn't, make use of it. As I understand, as I've read, the townspeople there, a lot of them made their living there, they put the fire out. So then the Confederates of the South, they came in there and they salvaged all the tooling and everything, and they took it down to Richmond to continue making firearms with it. But and that's just one piece of the history of that town. So anyway, it was pretty cool to stand on the ground where this rifle, or excuse me, I keep saying that, this musket was made. This very musket was made in 1856. Oh, I'm sorry, 1846. It says right on the barrel. 1846. Let's shoot that water jug if we can. All right, let's not shoot low. Yeah, 69 caliber ball will take care of it, won't it? So yeah, in 1846, this was made. So this was a United States armament. Who knows where it was and what soldiers carried it and where they were. They could have been, because they were issued, standard issue, could have been in, I don't know, Wyoming, could have been in Virginia, we could get anywhere. And, but that's where it was made. And I took it with me, trying to find the fellows that worked on it so they could refinish it for me, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So yeah, 1846, pretty cool. That's a long time, 15 years before the Civil War. My math right? Yeah. So that's it's pretty neat. Just so much history there. But anyway, the Harpers, because of the history of Harpers Ferry, and then it was flooded out, and went back and forth, changed hands during the Civil War, all that kind of thing. There weren't as many firearms made there, okay, because of all that history of the place, and so consequently, any firearm made there is a little more collectible. Like this is the first Harpers Ferry I have. of the Civil War era, the muskets and rifle muskets and that sort of thing. I've never owned a Harpers Ferry. I've seen, it's not like they're crazy expensive, but they're going to cost more. Take the same musket or rifle musket that's made at Springfield Armory, Arsenal, Massachusetts, versus the same one made in Harpers Ferry. And the Harpers Ferry is going to be more expensive just because they're less common. So, more kind of like a Carson City silver dollar, if you know anything about that. And many of you probably do. The same silver dollar, same date as one minted in Philadelphia or somewhere. It's just going to be more valuable, more collectible if it was, minted in Carson City, because not as many were minted there. So, a little history lesson there, right? So anyway, great trip. It was great to walk. I went over there twice to Harpers Ferry. I did some pretty serious hiking a couple of times up onto the Maryland Heights across. Those of you who've been there know what I'm talking about. What a climb. It was really good. It told me a lot about my health, because I didn't even intend to do that. I was just really walking across the bridge over into Maryland, and right there down in the hole, I thought, I'm going to walk over here and look around, and that is the Appalachian Trail. And so I was walking the Appalachian Trail, so I went to the right following the Appalachian Trail for a while, came back, and I really didn't even intend to go on a hike. I didn't have anything with me. I was dressed like I am now, which, by the way, I'm always dressed, right? And I didn't even have a bottle of water or anything, and I'd already been walking around the town a little bit. And I got to walking over there, and then I said, well, should I try to walk up on the heights, I heard it's really steep and it's a tough climb or hike. But so we'll be going up here and see what it looks like. And so I go farther and up to that. And I said, let me just go up the hill a ways. And so, and then, of course, then I ended up going all the way. But yeah, you don't want to try that if you're in bad health, okay? It will tell you, it will tax you. As I was coming down, there was a guy, I don't know how old he was. I don't know, probably younger than I was, but he was suffering. He was suffering. It's like took me back to my days of conditioning for basketball, because you literally get winded and everything, just trying to walk at a normal pace, because it's just every step is uphill. Imagine that on a little mountain. But so that was a neat hike. Then I went back another day, a couple days later, and looked around some more and hiked up more of the Appalachian Trail, and went by Jefferson's Rock, where Thomas Jefferson stood and wrote about, and everything's pretty cool. I think I posted that maybe. So this is like having to listen or watch somebody's Gatlinburg slides after they get home from vacation. That's the old joke, right? But y'all are gun nuts too, and many of you are, and you can appreciate the history of places like that. I highly recommend putting Harpers Ferry on your bucket list as a place to visit, okay, if you like that sort of thing at all. But I also highly recommend you do a little bit of research first, and you will really, really appreciate it. You will be so glad you did, because there's probably people living in Harpers Ferry don't even know half the history there, but just study John Brown, study him. Let me take 20 minutes and read about all the stuff he was up to. He's a famous abolitionist, and what he did even before Harpers Ferry, and then what his plan was at Harpers Ferry. He planned to abolish slavery, and take over the armory and get I think it was 100,000 of these there, and of various kinds, and he was going to recruit all the slaves, and he was there about recruiting. I think he said like 21 people with him, but they took over the armory, and got hostages, were inside the firehouse and everything, and it didn't go so well. Robert E. Lee, who was Colonel Robert E. Lee at the time, was sent in there. Jeb Stuart was there. Some other well-known Civil War actors, were there too, and actually, got him out, and had to what would you call it? Break in the door basically, and get him and his people out of. I think 2 or 3 were killed there, and then he was tried and hanged, and very soon that month, I think. But all that stuff going on. And then of course the Arsenal and the Civil War events and Revolutionary War era. Thomas Jefferson was there, of course, as I said, and George Washington had been there, I think, as a teenager, surveying or something. I don't know. But anyway, a very, very interesting place. Study the history of it, and you don't have to spend a week studying it, but just spend a little time, and then you'll want to go. You will want to. Yeah. Take my word for it. You always take my word, right, for everything. Okay. I told you I'd make up for the short week last week. I'd yak your ears off. All right. So you can see why I was in the mood to get this thing out. Well, let's just throw one at the gong. Okay, again, it's a smoothbore. Where to hold? Let's hold up on top of it. All right, I think it hit it. All right. Smoothbore at 80 yards. That's good. It'll at least hit a big old gong if I can hold it in the right place. See, you can see why I was thinking about this baby, and well, when I get back, I'm gonna have to shoot that thing before it gets cold, and so this worked out great. I can bring it out for a Sunday video again, and I know a lot of people are not crazy about muzzle loader, even these, something this historical. I mean, if we want to guarantee we don't get many views on a video, do a video like this with a gun like this. That's okay. It's it's just, I guess it's a niche area, muzzle loaders in general, and then specifically military rifle muskets or muskets, I guess. But it's like anything else. There are people who understand it and know it and love it, regardless of what the masses know or care about. And I fully admit, people into firearms, for the most part, probably, are very, I get what you say, segmented or narrow in their focus. Sometimes it's just because of their wallet, but a lot of people just don't have that much interest. Now, think about the people at the range you run into, your shooting buddies, that they know pretty much about shooting. They compete, do a lot of things, have a lot of guns, but it's mostly the same sorts of firearms, and they couldn't talk to you about at all. Wouldn't even know what a Hall's rifle is or anything out of that area. But that changes for most people as they get older. Your interest expands a little bit, I think. At least that's what happened to me. Expanded a little too much, didn't it? Why don't we shoot some number 4 buck? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. If I remember how to load it. Yeah, I wanted to get this thing out and shoot it. Well, for one thing, you visit these battlefields too, and it's not that I want to go play war necessarily, and it's just that it's just so interesting that through all these Civil War battles, Revolutionary War, and everything, that it was stuff like this that was used, flintlocks or cap locks, and old technology. Pretty interesting. And that brings up where else I went up to. On the last day, I went up to Gettysburg. Yeah, you might have seen my posting there. I posted from Cemetery Ridge on Instagram. So I got a few of my patches I have here. Put an over powder wad. Oh yeah, Cemetery Ridge, man. Gettysburg. Pickett's charge. Yeah, speaking of this thing, we know the Irish Brigade was extremely effective in repelling Pickett's charge, decimated them with these, the 1842 Springfield or Harpers Ferry. So, yep, stood right there. And I tell you, as I said, I think in that post here, it's just so quiet up there. It's a really eerie feeling. So much death took place right there in that field and right there on that ridge. so much death, thousands of people killed just in that afternoon. And see if I can get this thing. There we go. Just put a wad over that powder and put some this number 4 buck in. That's another place you ought to get to if you can. Pretty nice. I really stayed in a great place. I was in Winchester, Virginia, and which is North Virginia, of course, northern, and it just put me within spitting distance of a lot of places. I thought I'd probably go over to D.C. one day. Same thing, about the same distance as I was from Gettysburg. Just a short drive, hour and a half of a short drive for me. And I thought I would do that. I said, I don't know if I really want to fight the traffic, but how can I be up here this close? And I've been over there many, many times to the mall, but yeah, how can I not do it? But I didn't. I didn't. I just didn't do it. I don't know why. I just didn't. I tell you, when I went to the NRA museum, that's when I decided. I don't know, the roads, the crazy. It was just tricky getting around there, and the crazy traffic, because it really wasn't that bad around Winchester and the places I'd been going. But that day I ran over to the NRA museum. I thought, man, if I ever get to this place, I'll never come back. And that's when I thought, you know what? I don't think I want to fight my way into D.C. and the traffic. And it would have been a weekday too, with rush hour and different things. Even if I wait till later, I just nah, let's don't. Let's go to Gettysburg instead. And that's what I done. I went to Gettysburg and got some more history. All right. Speaking of that, now we got number 4 buck. We got buckshot here. I got to keep an eye out too. I forget here. I don't want to start a forest fire in these leaves. They're kind of dry. These patches I'm using are they're soaked in Wonder Lube. But okay. So since I've got a shotgun in my hands now, I don't know. Yeah, let's just shoot a plate that's not been shot too much here, since I have a shotgun in my hand. There we go. Puts a number 4 buck on that rascal. Really versatile. That is one reason that I decided, after studying a little more and of course learning about this rifle, how important it was in history and the versatility of a smoothbore. I thought, well, that'd be cool. That would give me a cap lock, a big caliber firearm to shoot. And they're not as accurate as a rifle, of course, at long range, but that'd be fine. And then also I could shoot anything in it. It's just like the brown bass, sort of, except this is cap lock, and you don't have all those issues. So pretty neat, pretty neat. I think I like it. So Gettysburg is another place you want to go to if you can. Where's my barrel stall? There it is. Oh yeah, barrel stall. Appreciate Talon grips as well, of course, gun grips. They're really expanding, I've noticed. They've got all kinds of things. You check out their website, talongungrips.com. I email all the time because I bought from them, and they send me things too. But they're supportive of the channel. But I get all the regular emails you get if you bought from them, and there's just always something new grip wise. So let me run some barrel stall down here. But Gettysburg is a really neat little town. It's on our to-do list, my wife and me. I think she would enjoy the little town, and the battlefield too. But it was good though that I was by myself, because I was able to. I got there early in the morning, and talk about another good hike. I hiked all over the battlefield. I just took off walking. I parked my car over in the town, just took off walking, and I walked all over the place. and she wouldn't have been able or wanted to do that. So, but it's a really neat little town. There's a restaurant there that John and I ate in years ago. Some of you might remember. It was the year I quit teaching. Well, you don't remember that, maybe, but it was the year I was invited to speak at a Second Amendment rally there in Philadelphia, outside the Independence Hall. And so it was like just a day or two after school was out, and that was my last year. It was awards day. I remember I presented the awards, academic awards, went down, I couldn't even stay for the whole thing, went out the back door of the auditorium, got in a car, John was out there waiting for me, and we drove to Philadelphia. But we went by way of Gettysburg, and we stayed a day there, I guess, almost. And he always remembers this restaurant, the Dobbin Tavern restaurant, and great crab cakes. And so I ate there again. But so it's a neat town, it really is. A good place to go visit. All right, so a little travel log. So let's shoot a ball again. Oh no, let's shoot a buck and ball. I brought a couple of these out that was it Jefferson Arsenal I bought these from? Yeah, because I put the powder in it. Yeah. Didn't I? Yeah, I put the powder in, right. Yeah, it's got powder in. Okay, so now this is buck and ball. You've seen me shoot these before. And hopefully you saw the video where, yeah, that was another video we did with this. The buck and ball experiment. Hope you've seen that. And I experimented at distance with putting the buck on top of the ball and then putting it under the ball and everything. And I learned something from that, that it does different things depending on where it is. It acts differently. Okay, now see with this, I just stick it all down in there, right? Yeah. So the buckshot will be on top. Okay, and with that method, as I showed in that video, in case you didn't watch it, you get less spread with the buck, okay, with the buckshot. And I just thought, as I put on that video, that just blows my mind. It just seems, physically, that with the big ball underneath the little balls, I had this vision of just blowing them like crazy, like they wouldn't hit anything, But it's just the opposite. That's what happens when you put the buckshot under the big ball. You get way more crazy spread with it, and you may not even hit your target. But again, in battle, if they're shooting it in amongst them, lots of the enemy out there, it may not make that much difference. Okay, but yeah, I had barrels. We did that over here. I had barrels sitting down there. We demonstrated. Okay. So I got buck and ball now. Let's shoot something. I'm gonna shoot the hog. Y'all may not be able to see it, but that's okay. I could back now to shoot the hog. Nice. Looks like all of it's right there in the shoulder area, the big ball and the buckshot. Yeah. Nice round. Again, that's what they were firing from up there where I was standing. The Irish Brigade, down on Pickett's men, charging. Coming up, attacking. And that's that rock wall. If you've seen the movie Gettysburg, the rock wall and everything, when at last advance and charge, Pickett's charge and everything. That was not filmed, I think, exactly right there, right there. But it looks like it. It looks like it. They found a field somewhere. I don't know if that was up there. I guess it was. But it looks just like that, and the rise and everything is just very, very similar. Exactly. But boy, it's really something to be standing there and knowing that's where that happened. It sure is, no doubt about it. Oh, well, something else I'll show you. I brought it out here, so I got to show you. You didn't buy any guns, no. But I kind of wanted a memento of some sort. I thought if I find something that's not too crazy expensive, or it could be something for $10. I don't know. I just thought that'd be cool to get something in Gettysburg or Manassas or somewhere, around there. And at the Manassas Gun Show, I found a little toad sticker. Some of you guess what that is. Some of you know already, probably. Oh, it's a sword. It's a saber. Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, it is. What kind is it? Okay. Now it looks a lot like other types. Okay, but look at the spine, the back, and how thick it is. That'll be a clue for some of you. Know more about them. Okay. Well, I had, if you've seen that video, I did buy years ago an 1860 light cavalry saber. Civil War saber. I think it was made in 1864. And I traded that. I liked it, but I traded it off for my very first Civil War original musket, the 1863 I had. And that thing just cost more than I wanted to put into it, the gun and everything. But I had that, and I just traded it, and to offset some of that cost. And I kind of missed having one. I'm not a giant, I like knives, I like big knives and everything. And I'm not, don't have a saber collection, I have no plans to have a saber collection or anything like that. But it's neat to have one, And I know enough about them to be dangerous. I know that the 1840, which is what this one is, instead of the 1860, this is the 1840, and it was heavier. It's called the wrist breaker, nicknamed the wrist breaker. And it's a big old saber sword. It's a big one, and in pretty nice shape. Pretty nice. This guy said he'd had it for 30 years himself. I think he was selling his stuff out, most of it. And I got him down, a couple $100 down on price and everything. And I finished the show, thought about it. Do I want that? Do I want that? Because this is the one I was thinking of replacing that one with if I got another one. And so. Pretty cool. So if you see me wearing that around town or on a trip somewhere, you'll understand. And again, it was good to meet you all, the folks I met, at various places, Gettysburg, just did wherever, gun shops, restaurants. In fact, the guys and the gal, the owner at, Gettysburg, the Regimental Quarter Masters Shop. Is that what it's called? Yeah. All viewers of the videos and everything. I just walked in there, fat, dumb, and happy. Well, not too fat. I'm not fat anymore. But they showed me in the back some special pieces, museum, and everything they have there. Really appreciate their hospitality. Really, I just walked in off the street, looking around. Went in some other gun shops and there. But mostly I just hiked around the battlefield and then ate. Okay, so Gettysburg, cool. Anything else I'm not telling you about? You're dying to know about that? Well, I'll tell you one thing. There's a nice gun shop, the Stonewall Arms in Winchester. Good folks, and I bought some magazines there. So everything wasn't antique. I bought some Ruger 1020 magazine, 1022 magazines, and a magazine for a SIG, there. But one thing about the NRA Museum I wanted to mention. Oh man, they've got the firearms used in I think every movie in Hollywood there. It was cool. I'll try to post some more of those. But it's just amazing. The gun from the shotguns and suppressor from No Country for Old Men. I mean, I could name them all day long. All the John Wayne movies and everything. Clint Eastwood. Like you name it, the Gatling gun from the War Wagon, and it's the same one that was used in Outlaw Josie Wales, with Clint shooting it out of that wagon. It's sitting there. I mean, they've got so many movie firearms, from almost seeming like all of the The movies that I can't think of his name. Tom Selleck, yeah, Tom Selleck, that Tom Selleck made. So many of those too. But anyway, as I was walking through that museum, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And it hit me that whatever, so here I go again, where am I? Somebody tell me, did I put powder in? Did I do anything? No, I do not begrudge, and I don't know what's going on with the NRA. I don't know how much good they're doing now. I think it's kind of spread out where all the gun rights organizations are doing something useful, and maybe it's better that one is not the behemoth, the gorilla, that commands all the attention and money and everything. It's spread out more. Maybe that's probably better. But I don't begrudge the money I spent to become a lifetime member or an endowment member. After seeing that museum again, I'm reminded, if they don't do anything else with that money, provided they don't waste it on anything else, and they just put it into that museum to maintain that, and I guess the building that houses it, it's a big building. I don't know, that may go away. I don't know. But somehow keep that museum there. That is worth a lot. That is worth a lot, really. They might ought to start promoting that more, and using that to get donations. So you may not agree with what we're doing or think we're pretty useless these days, but look at this museum we're protecting and maintaining. It is unreal. I highly recommend you get by there. You don't even have to be a member of the NRA. No one even asked me. You just go in. Although I knew the guy that was at the desk, I had a chat with him. Anyway, great trip. Let me load this up. I'm taking a long time, but I told you it's what was going to happen. And I'm not remembering advice or anything. Well, part of my advice for everybody, young people, old people, get out and see things like this. And then also keep history in the mind. That's for a long, long time, historically. That has been, I don't know, so important, I guess is the word to me. It's been a critical part of the firearms endeavors. I've always been kind of fascinated by firearms that were used long, long ago, and they're still available or still shootable, or you run into somebody that has one, whatever it is. It's a lever gun from 1920 or just whatever it might have been. That's always, it's been interesting to me. I know it's always been interesting to John, even as a young person. Of course, he's around me, but, so study your firearms at least enough to appreciate, what's been used and how it works. You don't have to know everything about every firearm. Man, if you want to feel stupid, ignorant, it would be the word, not stupid. If you want to feel ignorant about firearms, go walk through that NRA museum or someplace like that, because it brings home how much you just don't know. You take a quiz, and they take down all the labels on all those guns, and you have to go in there and name them. Well, good luck. Good luck. I think, Ian could probably do it or come awfully close, but most of us mere mortals, I could name a lot of them, but boy, a lot of them I couldn't. I couldn't. And I don't care. I've always focused on maybe the more common. There's always a firearm that was used in the Civil War, and some outfit, private company made 36 of them. I probably don't know about that, and I probably don't care that much. But still interesting, especially if it's some unusual, really weird design. Okay, my 1842. You didn't know you were going to get exercise, but I couldn't help it. So I got a ball in here, and I'm going, I haven't shot this target. We got to do that. I figure I'll probably blow it over. Let me move the powder far out of the way here. Yeah, I got this thing cocked. I was ready to shoot. Let me lay it down, uncock it. Move the powder. Set it on the four-wheeler. Okay. I'll back up a little bit. Maybe it won't blow it away. Boom, there we go. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, I guess I should let you go. But I probably spent an hour and a half yakking about this. But as I said, you can imagine, it was almost a dream trip for somebody like me. I can't think of another spot. I mean, actually there are some great spots around. And I could have gone to some more places. I should have gone to Antietam. I wasn't far from that, and some other. There's always another battlefield, seems like, somewhere. And I've been to many, many of them. And I'm not an expert on all of them. I just, it's just, there's something about it. Like I said, when you stand there on Cemetery Ridge and you look out and see that rock wall and you know what happened there and how many soldiers were killed in the charge, and in the cannon, you hear the cannon fire. I think they said the Confederates had 150 cannon down there when they first started trying to break up the cannon up on the hill on the Federal side. Can you imagine 150 cannons firing one after another continuously for, I don't know how long it was, an hour or two? That's just phenomenal, isn't it? And there's a lot of markers there for this regiment and that regiment and this outfit and that outfit and all that kind of thing. But it's just an amazing spot to visit there, the cemetery and everything, and the town. Such a historical, little spot there. But I highly recommend, getting to there and getting. I tell you, I don't know which one I'd recommend first, Harpers Ferry or Gettysburg. I think both, equal, really. Now again, if you don't know, everybody knows what happened in Gettysburg, but if you don't know much about Harpers Ferry, study up on it, and you got to get there if you possibly can. If you live around there, you have no excuse. But do study about John Brown and what all happened there, and then you'll enjoy it much more. Okay. So I'll just save some of my other brilliance for another week. How's that? Hope you enjoyed the election. They're still not finalized, right? I was going to say something about that, I think. One thing I do want, I've had this on my mind for a while, for a week or two or three. This business with the Speaker of the House's husband being attacked, or whatever all happened there, but whatever. A lot has been talked about how we got to be careful with our rhetoric and stuff, because there's idiots out there, unhinged people that can react and do violence or whatever, just based on what we say or whatever kind of thing, on either direction, whatever side, of course. It happens on both sides, right? Well, I understand that to an extent, but and I don't involve myself in that kind of stuff, as you know. But in general, that concept though disturbs me. You want to control from either side. I don't care who we're talking about controlling, but as far as our society. So is somebody telling me, whether it's a Democrat or Republican or Libertarian or whoever, telling me that how many people we have? 350 million people in this country. Are you telling me that 349,900,000 of us need to be careful what we say because of that other very small percentage of crazy people? So I need to base my life on what a crazy person how a crazy person might interpret something I say or write or sing or whatever. Sorry. Now, that falls too close to that business of, if it only saves one life, it's worth it. Yeah, whatever it takes. If it saves one life, it's worth it. Well, as I've said before, you can justify anything with that line. Yeah, if it just saves one life, or even saves 10 lives, if it just saves one life, yeah, it's worth doing that. It's worth not doing that. It's worth not saying that. Someone might misinterpret us or whatever, and someone might act out on that. Well, I'm sorry, my actions, and again, I'm coming from a place where, I don't think you see too much inflammatory talk from me or posting on Twitter and weird junk like that. But I just don't, or I'm not a talking head on a news show or whatever. I'm sorry, those of us who are, let's see, should I say you? Those of you who are sane. I'll include myself, okay, relatively sane. Okay, those of us who are sane, relatively sane, all right, 99.9% of us, we cannot modify our behavior, again, because of just a couple of loonies. There will always be loony bins out there. They've always been around. They will always be around. You want to shut down the First Amendment because there are loony people out there? Yeah. So that's always bothered me a little bit. That just doesn't fly. Sorry, doesn't fly. I don't want anybody to get hurt or anybody to be harassed or all that unnecessarily. I'm sorry, there are loony people out there, but we are really going down the wrong road if we can't say what we think. Yeah, really, say what we think. Even the loonies, they can say what they think, And if they get violent, then we take care of them quickly. That's part of the problem. We don't take care of people who need to be taken care of, one way or the other, quickly, So whether it's locked up in jail or put in an insane asylum or whatever it might be, we need to take care of that really small fringe of society, so that the rest of society can live normally, whatever that is these days. Right? So anyway, that's one of my rants I've just been holding off on. So I guess I'll let you go. I'm going to stay here and shoot this a while. I really am, because, same old deal. Once you get them dirty, you might as well, because this is probably the last day. Where's my powder? Here it is, over here. This is probably the last day I will shoot this, maybe till spring. Anyway, I enjoy shooting. I shoot because it's fun, and it's not fun messing with all this stuff as much if it's 30 degrees. Sorry, I'm a wimp. I mean, I don't need to. If I lived somewhere where 30 degrees was as warm as it ever got, well, then I would do it. I would be adjusted to that, right? It's not as much fun. You got all this stuff in your fingers and manipulating things. It's just never as much fun when it's cold, is it? It's so much. It's just a good time, and I've shot muzzle loaders a lot this summer in the fall and this fall, I'll have to say, and that was the plan. You've seen several videos. I got a couple more, I think, in the can. So then when it gets into December and January and February, I just let them rest. I'll take one out to the barn every now and then, and then I'll run a patch and oil just to make sure it's clean and no rust is forming or anything. I'm always a little paranoid about my muzzle loaders. So I'll let you shoot here one more round fire. How's that? We'll take out a 2 liter. We let them survive, haven't we? Okay. All right. How about the pink one? .69 caliber. It does the job. So if you want to see more, if you're new and you haven't seen much of this rifle until today, whatever, again, there's a couple of videos on it. The buck and ball, and then just the main video. It's an 1842 Harpers Ferry. You see Harpers Ferry, it's probably this rifle, although I got one reproduction, but this is my real Harpers Ferry, and it's in pretty good shape. Boy, I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I saw one in a gun shop in Gettysburg, horse soldier, I guess, and wow, it was like twice the price and not even as good a condition. But look at the market. You're in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And you choose to buy a Civil War rifle or antique there, You know, that's you're not going to expect to get a bargain, right, in Gettysburg. So, and I really was going to get some other one. I bought a coffee cup. I was going to get some little memento, maybe because it was in Gettysburg. And but you know, everything is so high, and I didn't really see anything that turned me on at all. You know, that I don't have. You know, or I'm not looking for another rifle or musket or anything, and that would have been a bad place to buy it. We got the Civil War show coming up here in a few weeks. Oh, that smelled. I'm gonna make sure I'm not starting a fire down here. I go down there and walk around after I let you all go. It smelled like leaves or wood burning, probably coming from neighbors or somewhere. But I thought ahead too. I've got 2 liters here. I've got something to put it out very quickly, right? Put it out with the sugar water. So I will let you all go. I'm going to hang around and take a few more shots, if you don't mind. And I hate to cut you off like this, but you know, got to do it. And I'm going to battle. These are neat. There is something special about these. You know, big brass handguard and all that, and leather grip. Some of you, whoa, cut myself, didn't know much about these. Probably are very, very familiar with the 1840 wrist breaker. This one was made in 1857. There's the date right there on it. Ames and Chicopee. I forgot, Chicopee, Massachusetts. Yeah, Chicopee, Massachusetts says right on it. And Ames Manufacturing, it says right on it. U.S. And and a lot of these were carried by the South. I guess because there were a lot of them out there already. And then when the 1860 cavalry, it was a little bit lighter than this, the light cavalry saber, came out in 60. They were, I don't know, most of them were, as they were made in the North, I guess. Then there's not many of them went to the South. So except from the battlefield, maybe. As I was reading about this after I bought it, that Nathan Bedford Forrest carried one. A lot of cavalry and then also some infantry officers, you know, carried these things. Whew. And gruesome. And you think about going to battle with that. Of course, any kind of battle is gruesome. You know, it is. We don't like to think about it, maybe, but yeah, it is. So, yeah, that is a really neat. Glad to find that, and for reasonable price, if there is such a thing, with the scabbard and everything, so I can wear it. So yeah, I didn't need that, but yeah, I don't know. I did want some memento from. I was in so many historical places. I thought it'd be cool to do something back, just to remember the trip. Except I will always remember that trip. I hope I keep my brain in condition enough to remember things like that. You know, yeah. As long as I stay out of political office, maybe, and out of the White House, maybe I'll maintain my my sanity, right? So. That's it. I'm gonna let you go, and appreciate you coming by for this little historical presentation, and some shooting enjoyment of a classic firearm. So I cleaned that thing up really, really well, that rifle, or that musket. Keep calling it a rifle, and I always want to take care of it. I'm the curator of that baby, no doubt about it. It's just really interesting visiting its home. You know, where it became a firearm, right there on the river, the Potomac River, in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, formerly Virginia. Yep, pretty cool, 69 caliber, and maybe you couldn't see on there. See the Harpers Ferry, and like I said pointed out in the video we did on this, the lock is 1845. On it, and the barrel 46, so it's considered a 46 model, 1846. Maybe in January or February, or whatever, and they're pulling the locks out and putting it all together, you know, and so it's understandable the lock would be off a little bit. So anyway, that's a prized possession, and I was right. I do enjoy it. I thought I would probably enjoy a smoothbore. and I do. So, pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna let you go, and do I have any more jokes with this little pocket knife here? Yeah, yeah, it's a little bigger than my Spider Co. Isn't it? So, I'll talk to you next week. I appreciate you coming by, and what can I say? I'm just a gun nut. I know I don't apologize for it, like most of you don't. None of you would, right? And there's no cure for me. What do? I take off. I could go anywhere. Could have gone to the beach and sat on the beach for a week. Gone to the Gulf in about 9 hours. Or any beach. Could have gone to the Pacific, the Atlantic, wherever I wanted. I almost did go to the Atlantic. Wouldn't matter a bit. Could have gone to Canada, get in my car and go where I want, right? And what do? I spent a week in Winchester, Virginia, because it's in proximity, close proximity to so many cool places. Yeah. So, sorry, Washington, D.C., I didn't make it. One last thing. It crossed my mind several times. If you've been to the mall, Washington, D.C., seen the White House and the monuments and everything, it's really a special place. But I'll have to say, it has been tarnished a little bit for me in the last, recent years. It's just tarnished a little bit. You used to go to Washington and you just, wow, this is a crazy place. Where all my money goes. You always have complaints about Washington, but there's the FBI building, the J. Edgar Hoover building or whatever, and everything, and the Supreme Court, and the monuments, and the White House, and Capitol, and Lincoln Memorial, and it's just so special. But it has, hasn't it, Timmy? I bet you for some of you too, it's just been tarnished a little bit. It's hard to look at it with that Pollyannish, eyesight anymore, really. So many of our formerly sacred agencies, we just don't know that we can trust anymore as much, and everything has been weaponized politically, and it takes you back to our founding fathers in the early days and everything. It just makes you wish it were better, I guess. There it is. It's just tarnished a little bit. You can't help it. It is a little bit for me. I love the memorials, the World War II memorial and Vietnam and all those. And that's what I'd planned, just do some serious walking around there and see all that stuff again. But I just thought, man, I forget the traffic. I don't have to go there. Been there many times. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go now, and quit pontificating and quit yakking. And I hope I haven't gone for 2 hours. I don't know if that's even uploadable, is it? Life is good.